Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology here. Hope everyone is having a great day. Today is December 4th, 2019, and this is the premium uranium sector watch list. We're going to take a look at the uranium sector, cover the URA ETF, the Uranium Participation Corp ETF from various timeframes, as well as go through all the various different stocks on the watch list and give us a better sense of where the market is and where it might be headed. Now, again, this is a premium watch list, but we're going to make this one publicly available in honor of the working group's leak that came out this late afternoon. We'll have to see tomorrow how the market takes it, but so far so good in terms of the folks that I follow on Twitter from a fundamental standpoint. I think that they are fairly pleased with some of the first points of the leak. So first and foremost, I wanted to point out some of the performance that we saw today. The standouts, Azincourt Uranium was up 40% today on massive volume. I think that's pretty interesting. We'll see if there's any follow through tomorrow. And for the most part, the sector was flat to positive. Had a few stragglers over here, but let's go through these on a one-by-one basis. All right, so URA ETF monthly. I pointed out last week on Twitter that URA basically is 40% uranium and 60% something completely unrelated. So the sell-off last couple of months, frankly, it wasn't all that uranium related. However, I do want to point out the importance because this is the largest uranium ETF at this juncture, and when this sells off, then that puts a negative catalyst on uranium prices and vice versa. If this can break out to the upside, I think even if 40% of it is uranium related, it can really serve as a catalyst to the uranium name. So this is a monthly chart, very, very interesting coil here, and it's got some work to do. Let's put it that way. The weekly chart still in this descending pattern here. We had a fake out back in August, had a nice rally all the way to 1142, pulled back. I think right here was solid support, and so far this week we've got a hammer candle and positive price action so far. On the daily chart, you see this particular downtrend was stopped at this particular trend line, and we've had two positive days. We've broken out from a technical perspective, rather from a momentum perspective here. We've got a couple of confluence of resistance points, so let's watch if those can be taken out tomorrow. The 4-hour ETF suggests that we have broken out of the downtrend short-term downtrend we've been in since 1142 all the way to 1064. Perhaps this will be a fake breakout, in which case that would be a very positive sign to the upside. Notice PPO is moving to the positive direction. So all in all, I like the short-term price movements here. Here's the hourly. You've got a short-term positive divergence here with positive price action, and it's consolidating right now above the 50 RSI level. I like that, and I think it's set up here really nicely to move back towards that 11 area before any real resistance is met. Uranium Participation Daily. For those of you new to this, U Participation Corp tracks to the best of its ability the price of uranium, and so this kind of goes to show you price of uranium really rallied from end of October all the way through start of December. Kind of pulled back a little bit. Again, not exactly the price of uranium because uranium really hasn't pulled back all that much. It's really at its highs right now over the last 6 months. But this price did pull back, and perhaps this is going to become a catalyst once it rallies back above this price area to the upside. We'll skip the weekly just for brevity. On the monthly, this is a very beautiful looking bullish wedge pattern right now, right below the 9 and 18 month moving averages around 422 and 427. This can break to the upside. I think we're headed straight towards that 5 area, and once this consolidation zone breaks out, I think that's when you're going to have the super run that some folks are expecting in the uranium space. All right, so let's start with the names, individual names on the watch list. We're going to cover all of them, barring any interruption. This is the second time I'm doing this video because last time around we had some technical difficulties. So ALX here has rallied fairly nicely after a fake breakdown here. We've got PPO here at the highest levels since, frankly, since the start of 2018. So 2 years. That's a pretty good technical development. It needs some work, but if it can break above this downtrend, that would be a very, very positive sign. Right now, it's above the 50 RSI level. That's very nice, but it's done that before and it's pulled back. So not going to take all these. You got to take all these technicals on these pennies with a grain of salt. But it's a good way to really understand kind of overall temperature of uranium equities. Anfield Energy still in a very well-defined downtrend over here, but every time it seems to be hitting these lows, it's rallying. It's got some positive divergence here with no new lows in momentum, even as we're hitting somewhat lower lows in price. And eventually this is going to break to the upside, is my humble opinion. But from a technical standpoint, till it breaks about 17 and a half, there's really not much to see here. There is this movement that you're going to see in a lot of these names where PPO is very, very close to breaking above zero. So if it breaks above zero, then that in and of itself could be a nice price catalyst. API Energy, one of the most disappointing names in terms of technical price action over the last many months. Not often do you see cup and handles fail, but this is one prime example where this was a cup and handle, very beautifully defined, rounded bottom with a clean neckline, breakout, and then we couldn't hold these levels. And so now you're basically consolidating, or rather breaking down, and you're still below 31. But if this downtrend can break on with RSI, then it can become a catalyst. But until it breaks back above 17, this is in no man's land technically. Zarga Uranium also pulling back here at that 18 level where there's some resistance, but we've already broken out of this downtrend in RSI. So if this is backtest successfully, then I think that could serve as a positive catalyst. Notice PPO is making higher highs and higher lows, and it's curling towards that zero zone. So if it can break out, very positive sign. But again, it's a no man's land until it breaks that 18 area. Azincourt Uranium was the star of the day. It had massive volume. Today, close to 8.6 million shares, according to stock charts. According to another service that I follow, they had close to 12 million. So bottom line is positive price action, highest level of PPO since basically October of 2017. So whereas we have not yet broken out of the downtrend, momentum certainly has shown that it's in a new uptrend right now. So it needs some follow through, but today was some really good initial price action, and we took some nibbles in that particular name. Blue Sky Uranium, very well defined downtrend, broke out back in March of this year. It's been consolidating, had a couple of fake breakdowns. So far, they've been bounced strongly after those breakdowns, and now it's consolidating in a bullish wedge formation above this downtrend in RSI. But it needs to break out and needs to do so soon. If it can break out, then I'm thinking we're headed towards that 23, followed by the 33 cent zone. But it's got a lot of work to do. All right, so Cameco, the major player in the space, major component in the URA ETF. The most important thing I want you to take out is we're still consolidating right below these two in very, very important trend lines. And most importantly is we have consolidated above the top upper boundary of this downtrend. And now so far this week, we've successfully back tested. And if this can have a follow through perhaps tomorrow, then we can have a strong breakthrough in the coming days, if not weeks, if not days. Canalaska, also another one of those names in no man's land below 20. This is bearish territory. You've got the inverse head and shoulders potential, but it's got a lot of work to do. It needs to break out above this downtrend here in RSI. Centrus Energy Corp. This is the one that's got the cleanest chart of any in the sector. Obviously, it's not a pure play uranium company, not an explorer, not a producer. It's based on just the demand of nuclear energy, and it's kind of showing you that this part of the market is really starting to heat up, and that's a very positive sign for uranium long term. So just using this as a barometer is a great example of what's potentially going to take place in the uranium space, and why so many of us are really bullish on the sector longer term. Secondly, you've got this beautiful rounded bottom here. You've got this kind of well-defined neckline around this area. We finally broke out above it, back tested here, and I think we're headed all the way back to 10 sooner rather than later. And then thereafter is where you're going to get exponential price appreciation should this break out to the upside. Deep yellow, kind of a no man's land, still a very well-defined downtrend, and it needs to break above this upper boundary before it gets technically interesting. Denison is one of the largest explorers, juniors, and it's been really acting weak of late. I will point out that we're kind of at a double bottom here, both in price and momentum, with slight positive divergence. We're also not making new lows on PPO, so perhaps this is just a year-end tax loss sell-off, and it's not really being backed by any sort of negative momentum. Oh, just to point out one thing with Denison, basically from a technical standpoint, until this breaks this 45 cent level to the upside, it's in a no man's land as well. But again, if you've got a fundamental basis to buy it, this might not be a bad time to get some shares. Encore Energy, one of the best looking charts in the entire sector, cup and handle here. And unlike API.CA, it's not breaking down. This one looks like it's just very, very close to a catalyst breakout. So it's got some work to do, but the chart is consolidating very, very nicely. Energy Fuels, perhaps the biggest beneficiary of a positive working group release. And if the market takes what was leaked last night or tonight in a positive fashion, if that's going to be followed through with positive recommendations, or rather developments from the Trump administration, then this can really take off all the way to 250, possibly as high as 3, and eventually much, much higher. Fission 3.0, I'll point out something interesting I read today. I was looking through the Azincourt uranium presentation back from July, and they kind of showed the various different land packages in the Athabasca region. And Fission 3.0 had by far the largest of any company, both junior as well as major, or speculative minor. And so obviously these land packages could be absolutely worthless, but it's still very interesting. They've got a really, really good team here behind the company, obviously Fission in a lot of the Fission folks. And so this could be a really good perspective play, but obviously it's got a lot of work to do. We're right now with some slight positive divergence, perhaps backtesting this breakout level, but it needs to break out of this downtrend for this to be a serious move. Until then, we can hope that this PPO will serve as a catalyst as it breaks zero, if it breaks zero. But if it breaks, then it can really rally strong. I mean, I think the 9 cent zone is a definite target, followed by a quick run to 26, followed by a quick run to 50 is definitely not outside of the cards if the uranium bull takes off. Fission uranium, it's big brother. Right now, the only thing I can say is it's got positive divergence. So you've got positive net. You're not creating new lows in momentum, even as you're creating new lows in price. You've got this kind of bullish wedge. PPO has positive divergence. Similar to Denison, looks like it's a tax loss sell-off right now. So this is a good area from a fundamental perspective, in my opinion, to start adding if you haven't already done so. But from a technical perspective, it needs to break that 31 level and possibly even get above this downtrend line. Forces Metals looks like it wants to break higher. It looks like it's starting to consolidate and curl for an eventual breakout, but until it does so, it's kind of dead money. Forum Energy, this is one of the best perspective names from my exploration company. In my opinion, I think that this can be a double or triple from here very, very quickly on positive news. Expecting Rio Tinto to give an answer whether they're going to start a drill program in the next couple of months here. But I think that this is a good looking chart all around. Obviously, if Rio does not pick up its tab over the next couple of months, that could be a negative catalyst. But Nonetheless, I like the risk reward here, and this could be a multi bagger with its prospective properties in back up in Canada. Global Atomic, it's been one of the best performing miners here, and it's got a very well defined uptrend, but it's on very thin ice right now. So if this breaks through, then I think we're headed lower. You see, RSI has broken, albeit slightly below 50, which is one of the reasons why we're down close to 10% this week. So watching to see if this particular level holds. The volume has been pretty high last couple of weeks, which is pretty interesting. GovUX Uranium, nothing really to see here until it breaks this downtrend or this support level. Otherwise, it's kind of consolidating dead money. Greenland Minerals and Energy, one that's I'm watching right now because it's got this bullish flag here, and it looks like it's on the verge of a breakout. Notice RSI has already broken out, both from a directional perspective here from this downtrend, as well as horizontally. It looks like it's breaking out as well. So looking for a weekly close above the 50 RSI level would be very bullish for Greenland. ISO Energy, this one's kind of in dead territory, if you will, for the time being. Till it breaks above these two moving averages that are declining, it needs to break above 50, and then it can make a run back towards that 65 level. Until then, it's just a fundamental play because the technicals don't look great. Laramide Resources, speaking of technicals that don't look great, this one's just hovering on life support right now, back at those 31 level, which is very important support. I would say maybe this is a potential inverse head and shoulders. There's positive divergence here. Notice PPO is creating consecutive lower lows and higher highs. If this breaks above zero, then this can really take off. But technically, it needs to break back above that 25 cent zone for this to get interesting. Next Gen Energy, very well defined channel that it's in. If it stays above that 115 zone, possibly even above $1, this is fine. But if it breaks below these levels, these could be your stop losses, and there's no reason to own it. But if it consolidates here and rallies, then this is going to be one of the best looking charts in your portfolio. Paladin Energy, don't like this chart, just continues to act weak, and eventually if the uranium market breaks out, then I think we'll see a very clear breakout, but until then it's dead money. Plateau Energy Metals, on the other hand, is showing a lot of signs of life. So we had a very strong price move last week on very small volume, albeit, and then now we're having a follow through. So we've got a technical breakout from the downtrend here. We've got some fundamental positive news that may be coming out around the corner, both just in Peru in general and as specific to the company. PPO is starting to move. It's really at the highest level since July, which is a positive sign. If this can break above 30, then this can move very quickly, perhaps all the way back towards that 50 to 55 level. Pure Point Uranium, this one's probably one of the weakest looking charts right now. And granted, it's been on very low volume. So again, technicals are very hard to judge when you've got low volume. But right now, what I'm seeing is that the RSI is breaking below 38. So potentially lower prices may be in store, perhaps as low as 4.5 cents here on the Canadian. Sky Harbor Resources, which is a partner to Azincourt. It's a great way to potentially play any positive Azincourt, drill results there. But well-defined downtrend. Looks like it wants to break higher. It needs to break above that 18 cent zone to get interesting again. But you see this downtrend all the way back towards 57 cents, all the way to 14.5. Looks like it's on the verge of being broken to the upside. So a lot of these names that we've covered so far are showing signs of life, but they've got a lot of work to do. Texas Mineral Resources, another well-defined downtrend, finding support here on the lower boundary here, back testing that 38 level. So this could be interesting if it breaks above that 30 cent zone. Can make a quick move back towards 44 to 45 if it breaks these levels. All right, UEX Corp. it's still kind of in dead man territory below 13. There's really not much to see. It's got the downward sloping moving averages. It's got to break out above those levels. Really above 15 cents is what I'd like to see. But what I will say is, even as it's making new lows or consolidating around those lows, momentum is not making new lows. So that's positive divergence that I like to see. And eventually, I think those will resolve their way to the upside. URG, your energy, kind of broke down a little bit here over the last couple of days, but bounced from the lows so far. Bounced with pretty substantial positive divergence from previous lows. So if this can find some legs and break back above these downward sloping moving averages, I want to see this break above 65 cents for upside to be seen here. Uranium Energy Corp, another one that really broke down of late, and after it could not break above these downtrends, we've got a double bottom right now in place with positive divergence. That's a very good sign. So if this can find some legs here and break back above about 98 cents, I think then this move will be legit and ready to break higher. All right, a couple more here. Virginia Energy Resources. This one looks like it's kind of consolidating sideways and breaking above this downtrend. Momentum is above previous resistance and above the 38 level. This can break above 6 cents. This could really run. This could be a primary beneficiary or one of the best beneficiaries to a positive news release by the working group. And finally in this video is Western Uranium. So well-defined downtrend here, but it's squeezing right now. It's coiling, and momentum is very, very close to an upside breakout. So I like what I'm seeing here. This could be a good risk-reward entry. Stop loss below 60 cents, and I think an upside could be a quick double from or close to it from here, and then obviously a lot more upside thereafter. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think, but most importantly, put some good thoughts to whomever you pray to, and hopefully this working group and the leak that came out this afternoon will be a positive catalyst for a sector that's long overdue for one. So best of luck, and have yourselves a great day.